Hey everybody, this is Vince Miller. Thank you so much for joining me for another devotional. Good to be back from Florida. I'm back in the winter cold of Minnesota, but what a great time that was. Thanks for praying for us if you did that. Thanks for supporting us financially if you did that. And a big shout out to all those guys who are probably watching today. We had a great time. I want to focus on one guy this morning though. That's Mo from Texas who brought his father-in-law, by the way, and who plays these videos faithfully at the end of each one of his fitness classes. Man, I love you. What a great use of this tool. Thanks, Mo, for your support. I love you, brother. Today, we are in John chapter 5. I'm going to read verses 10 through 13. We're picking up in the story of Jesus healing this lame man. We're going to see the effects of it at this moment. So the Jews, now these are the religious leaders, the Jews said to the man who had been healed, "It is the Sabbath, and it's not lawful for you to take up your bed." So they notice he's doing something wrong according to the religious law. But he answered them, the lame man answered them, "The man who healed me," you'll notice he doesn't even know his name. "The man who healed me, that man said to me, 'Take up your bed and walk.'" So this man has naturally assumed that the guy who healed him had religious authority to tell him to do that, to take up his bed and walk, which, by the way, was not right according to their law or their religious additional laws. So he's casting blame on Jesus, which would be a natural response, I think, to getting busted for doing something wrong. You would just assume that Jesus had the authority to say it, right? Now, the man who had been healed, so the lame man, did not know who it was, for Jesus had withdrawn, and there was a crowd in the place. So there's a commotion going on. Now, I think that this moment here precisely illustrates the joy and the freedom of righteousness in contrast to the burden of religious legalism. I mean, Jesus has just performed an incredible miracle. He healed a man who had been lame for about 4 decades, by the way. And as far as we know, this man has never walked a day in his life. But in conjunction with the healing, Jesus told the man to take up his bed or to roll it up and walk. And this part of the Savior's instructions to the lame man violated one of the 39, by the way, prohibitions of work on the Sabbath day as written by religious authorities. It was not an act of disobedience, by the way, but it was a violation of their additional religious rules. So in the interaction with the lame man, these religious leaders or legalists want to get to the bottom of the issue. They see right past the joy of the miracle and the fact that there's actually a lame man who's never walked before in his life standing in front of them. All they care about is the mat that's rolled up under his arm. And why? Well, because it's too heavy to carry around on a Sabbath day according to their laws. I mean, fellas, don't you hate it when people do stuff like this? I mean, for example, you hit a home run one day and then your dad points out all the little things you could have done better. Or you crush the sales quota for the month and your boss focuses on some tiny little issue with the client that went wrong. Or you spend a fortune for a family vacation and everybody complains about the minor travel issue that you had. Or you work your butt off on a test and you miss the grade that you want by a fraction of a point. We've all experienced these things. In fact, these are things that I have actually experienced. And sometimes when these events happen, we get drawn into the legalism of another person. Like this lame man here, we set aside the wonder of the miracle and we begin to question ourselves. Then we duck and deflect and blame and explain, don't we? Assuming we've done something wrong. And then the joy of the freedom that we experienced is stolen from us. And even worse, as a victim of religious legalism, we learn and practice doing the same to others. Fellas, today, I want you to do something different. I want you to celebrate what God has done for you. Just be joyous for a bit. Experience that freedom, live in it, and focus less on your minor imperfections and those things that maybe still need to change. They'll change over time. God will address them all in time, but for now, refuse to practice the legalism that was modeled to you and stop passing it on to others. I love you guys. Thanks for joining me today. I hope this has blessed you. If it has, share it with someone else, and I'll see you right back here again tomorrow.